Welcome to the second part of this video. In part 1 I showed you how to remove the front CV axles from your Isuzu Trooper, and in part 2 we're going to show you how to remove the rest of the axle assembly. So I want to first start by showing you what it takes to remove the axle shafts from the axle housing, because if you don't remove the CVs like I showed you in the previous video, you'll have to do this part while the axle is still in the front of the vehicle. So just imagine doing all this while this axle assembly is in the car. These plates that I'm pulling out with the axle shafts are the mounts for the axle housing, and when the axle's in the front of the vehicle, they actually can't be removed all the way. So basically you have to knock them 2 inches out and then do this process of removing the C-clips and bearings to get the axle shaft out if you were to replace the whole CV the traditional way. So just imagine doing this part right here with 2 inches of space instead of a workbench of space. I'll jump back to this later once the front axle is removed. Here's your front axle. It's mounted on these plates on either end. And these plates are pretty simple. There's just one bolt with a nut in the front that holds it to the frame, and then on the back side there's just one long bolt. And they're pretty straightforward once you have everything else out of the way. So that's the first step, is to get everything out of the way. So we need to remove the steering linkage. I find it's easiest just to remove the entire idler arm from the frame with the 4 bolts, and the other side has the steering box, which you can't really remove the entire thing, but usually helps to just take the 4 bolts out so it has a little movement in order to get the entire steering linkage out of the way. You'll also want to turn your steering wheel all the way to the right so that the linkage on the bottom of the steering box is not in the way of the axle. I've also removed the drive shaft at this point. One other thing I will add, the oil drain on these front diffs is a little weird. It's actually this bolt, let's see, right here. It looks like it's just one of the bolts that holds the third member into the housing, but this is actually your oil drain. This bottom short bolt on the differential. This one right here. So if you take it out and nothing comes out, stick like a needle in there, or a screwdriver, or a small screwdriver or something. Sometimes a silicone used to seal it will get in the way of the hole and kind of restrict the oil from coming out. But if you take this out, that's where your oil drain is. You don't actually need to drain the oil before the axle is removed from the vehicle, but I find it easier to do it while it's in the air rather than resting on the ground in your garage. So now that you have your CVs removed, your steering linkage removed or out of the way, and your drive shaft removed, as well as a couple things I didn't talk about, the front frame brace and the skid plates, those are all really easy to remove. But after that's done, you are ready to support your axle and remove the mount bolts. I should add, when I was doing this, I did remove the entire steering box because I needed to replace that as well. So it just made sense to do it, but it's a real pain and adds a lot of extra work. So if you don't need to remove it, then just turn the arm out of the way, and it should give you plenty of clearance. So after you have the mount bolts out, you're ready to go ahead and start dropping the axle. The only issue is it's a tight squeeze between the lower control arms, so you basically have to push it off to one side, get the axle cup on one side to drop underneath the control arm, and once you get the one side, you can just pivot it back to the other side and it will just fall out. I also forgot to mention, don't forget to remove the rubber line that goes to your differential breather, but make sure you remove that before you drop the axle down too far so it doesn't break. So once your axle's out, first of all, go ahead and drain any oil if you didn't already do that, and then you're ready to remove your axle stubs. So basically you pull the 4 bolts out from the side of the differential and just pop the axle stubs out, and they might need a little bit of hammer. Then go ahead and remove the first C-clip, which holds the bearing in place. And after that, pop the bearing off. It might be on there a little firm. Then there's one more C-clip, which holds the oil seal in. So go ahead and remove that one. Make sure you've got a good set of C-clip pliers, because the cheap adjustable nose ones will not work for this. And then go ahead and slide off your oil seal, and that's all that holds the plate on. So I went ahead and pulled the third member out of the housing. Just remove all the remaining bolts that go into the housing, and a couple studs have nuts on them. And then you'll just need to break the seal that's keeping all the oil in there. So a little screwdriver usually works, and you can pop it on out. And this is the new air locker assembly that's all set up in an existing third member that I had, which is now ready to go in. And these are my new mounts for the diff drop. They are just cut and re-welded stock mounts. You can see they're spaced an inch farther out. We'll go ahead and assemble the axle stubs with these new diff drop mounts in place. I like to use a little petroleum jelly on the seal to give it some lubrication before we slide it on. Then you can go ahead and slide it over the axle, and we'll put our C-clip and our bearing and our other C-clip in place, and then they'll be ready to go back in the axle. So from this point, make sure you've cleaned all the surfaces really well, and put a nice layer of silicone sealant around the housing, or maybe there's a gasket available, I'm not really sure. I usually just use silicone and it works fine. And everything past that is just exactly the reverse of removal. So hope that all makes sense. I know I kind of rushed through a bit of it, but it should give you an idea. It's all a pretty complex job, so you shouldn't really be attempting this unless you've got a pretty good idea of what you're doing already. But if there's any other questions, or if I left anything out, feel free to leave a comment, ask questions, and I will do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. So good luck, and enjoy your Trooper once you've got it upgraded and improved.